Welcome back to Thai Production. First of all, we would like to sincerely thank everyone who has followed, supported, and left positive comments in previous videos. That is the biggest motivation for us to continue to bring more valuable content every day. In today's video, Thai Production will explore with you inspirational success stories of Americans, from smart business strategies to bold turning points that have brought them from nothing to legend. Real-life examples and profound lessons will help you better understand why America is the land that produces so many billionaires and great entrepreneurs. If you find the content useful, don't forget to leave comments, like and share the video to support TY Production to develop further. Let's get started. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest and most successful people in history, is a classic example of how to rise from poverty to become a billionaire. Born in 1835 in Dunfermline, Scotland, to a poor family, Carnegie faced many challenges from an early age. His family lived in a cramped and poor house. His father, William Carnegie, was a weaver but faced the decline of the Scottish textile industry. Carnegie's mother, Margaret, loved her family very much, but she could not change their difficult situation. When Carnegie was 13 years old, his family decided to emigrate to the United States in search of new opportunities. However, life in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, was not easy. Andrew had to start working as soon as he arrived in the United States, and his first job was in a low-paying cotton mill. Young Carnegie did not have many opportunities for formal education, but he did not give up. Instead, he began to teach himself to read and write during his free time. While working at the factory, he borrowed books from the library and taught himself about science, history, and economics. It was through this effort that Carnegie gained a solid foundation of knowledge to advance further in his career. When Carnegie had the opportunity to work for a telegraph company, he quickly grasped and learned more business and technology skills. In 1853, he had accumulated enough experience and a small amount of capital to invest in the railroad industry. This was the first turning point in Carnegie's career, helping him gradually escape poverty. However, Carnegie was not only looking for opportunities to become rich, he also focused on investing in himself and improving every aspect of his work. His creativity and progressive spirit helped him gradually conquer the challenges in the railroad industry, and at the same time helped him realize the great opportunities in the steel industry. In 1872, Carnegie decided to invest in the steel industry, and this completely changed his life. He founded the Carnegie Steel Company and quickly made it the largest steel company in the United States. One of Carnegie's important innovations was the improvement of steel production processes, which reduced costs and increased productivity. Carnegie was one of the first to apply Bessemer furnace technology, which produced steel at a much lower cost than his competitors. This helped Carnegie Steel outperform his competitors and become the largest and most profitable steel company in the United States. However, the road to success was not always easy. One of the major difficulties Carnegie faced was the Homestead strike in 1892, when workers at his plant demanded improved working conditions and higher wages. Carnegie refused the workers' demands, leading to a violent strike. Although the strike caused serious damage to Carnegie's image and finances, he did not give up. Instead, he continued to improve his production process and expand his operations, helping the company overcome difficulties and maintain its success. In 1901, Carnegie sold his steel company to J.P. Morgan for $480 million, a huge sum at the time. After selling the company, Carnegie became the richest man in the world at that time. However, instead of continuing to accumulate wealth for himself, Carnegie decided to use most of his wealth for charity. He believed that the wealthy had a responsibility to use their wealth for the common good. Carnegie devoted most of his wealth to charitable activities, especially educational projects and scientific research. He founded more than 2,500 public libraries across the United States and in many other countries, providing millions of people with access to knowledge and improving their lives. He also made major contributions to organizations such as universities, research institutes, and other charities. Carnegie is also famous for his philosophy of theory of wealth, in which he believed that the rich should not just keep their money for themselves, but should invest it in activities that benefit society. He wrote in his book The Gospel of Wealth, "Wealth is not a private property, but a social asset. The rich have a responsibility to use their wealth for the common good." This view of Carnegie laid the foundation for many of his later philanthropic activities and policies related to social responsibility. Late in life, Carnegie devoted much of his time to philanthropy and the development of educational and scientific research institutions. He was not only a brilliant investor, but also one of the first to realize that wealth must be used to create a positive impact on society. With his legacy, Carnegie built a system of libraries, schools, and research institutions, and his name is still remembered as a model of success not only financially, but also humanitarianly. The lesson learned from Andrew Carnegie's life is clear. Perseverance, creativity, foresight, and philanthropy are the important factors that helped him rise from a poor boat to a billionaire and leave a lasting legacy for society. John D. Rockefeller, considered the founder of the modern oil industry, is a classic example of entrepreneurial spirit and investment strategy. Born in 1839 in Richford, New York, Rockefeller grew up in a modest family. His father, William Rockefeller, was a quack drug dealer who was often absent from home and had little responsibility for his family. Meanwhile, his mother, Eliza, was a pious, thrifty, and energetic woman who raised her children with a strict sense of discipline and morality. From an early age, Rockefeller learned lessons about thrift, prudence, and perseverance from his mother. As a teenager, he began working odd jobs to earn extra income, from farming, sales, to bookkeeping. At the age of 16, he got a job as an assistant accountant in Cleveland, Ohio, and quickly distinguished himself for his honesty, discipline, and excellent financial management skills. Although he did not attend college, Rockefeller always learned from practice and business books. At the age of 23, he and a partner opened a small oil trading company called Clark and Rockefeller. At that time, the oil industry was very chaotic, with a series of small companies operating inefficiently. Rockefeller recognized a great opportunity when he saw the great potential of oil in replacing old fuel sources, especially in lighting and later in machine engines. He began to invest heavily in oil refineries, the most prominent of which was Standard Oil, founded in 1870. With a sharp investment strategy and foresight, Rockefeller not only focused on refining oil, but also gradually controlled the entire supply chain, from exploitation, transportation, distribution to marketing. He applied a vertical integration model, which helped reduce costs and eliminate dependence on intermediaries. In addition, he also negotiated wisely with railroad companies to gain preferential shipping rates, creating a great competitive advantage over his competitors. Not only that, he also aggressively bought or merged with small competitors, thereby making Standard Oil the dominant company in the U.S. oil industry. At its peak, Standard Oil controlled more than 90% of refined oil production in the United States. However, Rockefeller's success did not come from luck but was the result of extremely careful calculation and strict financial discipline. He was a man of few words, lived simply, and ran his business tightly. Although criticized for his monopolistic business model, it cannot be denied that he created an empire that had a huge influence on the development of the U.S. economy. In 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil had to be dissolved for violating antitrust laws. However, this did not reduce the value of Rockefeller's assets, because the subsidiaries after separation, such as ExxonMobil, still developed strongly and brought huge profits. After withdrawing from business, Rockefeller devoted most of his assets to charitable activities, especially in the fields of education, health, and scientific research. He founded the University of Chicago, funded the Rockefeller Institute of Medicine, and many other organizations. By the end of his life, Rockefeller had donated about $540 million, a huge number at that time. The story of John D. Rockefeller is not only a journey from a poor boy to the first billionaire of the modern world, but also a testament to the power of strategic thinking, financial discipline, and long-term vision in investing. Benjamin Franklin, born in 1706 in Boston, was the youngest of 17 children. His father was a poor candlemaker who could not afford to provide his children with a proper education. Franklin only received 2 years of formal education before dropping out to help support his family. However, he had a strong desire to learn, self-taught through reading, interacting with intellectuals, and practicing writing. From an early age, Franklin demonstrated a spirit of independence and innovative thinking, which later became the foundation for his brilliant career. At the age of 12, his father sent him to learn the printing trade with his brother, who owned a small printing shop. Here, Franklin learned printing and editing skills, and most importantly, became acquainted with the world of journalism and publishing. However, due to conflicts with his brother, he left home for Philadelphia at the age of 17. With only a few coins in his pocket. He applied for a job at a printing house and quickly impressed people with his diligence, modesty, and intelligence. After a period of working for hire, he went to London to learn more about printing, then returned to Philadelphia to open his own printing shop. From here, Franklin's life began to turn a new page. Franklin was not only a talented printer, but also a shrewd businessman. He published the Pennsylvania Gazette, turning it into one of the most influential newspapers in the British colonies in America. In particular, he compiled and published Poor Richard's Almanac, a farmer's calendar filled with practical advice, life philosophy, proverbs, weather forecasts, and general knowledge. This book sold surprisingly well, was loved by people everywhere, and was a great source of income that helped Franklin gradually become rich. Not stopping at printing, Franklin invested his profits in other areas such as real estate, publishing, and even insurance. He lived a wise and frugal life, something he always advised others through sayings such as, "Time is gold," or "Spend less than you earn." This philosophy of life helped him accumulate wealth in a sustainable and stable way. Although not the richest man of his time, Franklin is considered a millionaire in the modern sense because he owned a large fortune from honest work, smart investments, and a standard lifestyle. What made Franklin stand out the most was that he did not keep his success to himself. He used his wealth and reputation to contribute to the community, founding the first public library in the United States, co-founding the University of Pennsylvania, organizing the first fire department, and establishing an efficient postal system. He was also an inventor with many famous works such as lightning rods, bifocals, and the Franklin stove. Later, he became one of the founding fathers of the United States, participating in drafting the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. From a poor boy who had to drop out of school early, Benjamin Franklin rose to become a millionaire thanks to his intelligence, determination, hard work, and spirit of serving the community. He is not only a symbol of the American dream, from nothing to success, but also a living testament to the truth. Wealth does not only come from money, but also from knowledge, morality, and dedication to society. From the story of Benjamin Franklin's rise, we can learn profound lessons about the path to wealth and success. Although he was born into a poor family and only received 2 years of formal education, he never stopped reading, practicing writing, learning from life, and persistently pursuing knowledge. With the spirit of self-study, he proved that circumstances do not determine the future, but will and diligence. From a penniless printer, Franklin built his own career, becoming a printing shop owner, newspaper publisher, famous author, and successful investor. His success came not only from hard work but also from the ability to seize opportunities and creativity in business. The publication of Poor Richard's Almanac is a clear demonstration of his vision, as he provided practical advice in a humorous, memorable form, meeting the needs of the people at that time. Besides, Franklin always promoted a frugal lifestyle, reasonable consumption, and wise investment for long-term accumulation, instead of chasing after immediate glitz. Not only did he enrich himself, he also devoted himself to the community, founding libraries, hospitals, schools, and many organizations useful to society. He also lived a simple, moral and honest life, putting human values and sustainable development first. In particular, Franklin did not limit himself to any role. He was a scientist, inventor, politician, philosopher, diplomat. Each field left its own mark. Through that, he showed us that to be successful, we need to dare to learn, dare to do, dare to dream, and dare to live a meaningful life. His story is an endless source of inspiration for those starting from zero. If you work hard, learn, live with purpose, and are willing to contribute, you can rewrite your destiny and leave a legacy that transcends time. Thomas Edison was born in 1847 in Milan, Ohio, into a poor family of 7 siblings. As a child, he did not attend formal education for long because he was considered mentally retarded. But instead of giving up, his mother, a former teacher, decided to homeschool her son. It was her love and absolute trust that laid the foundation for Edison's self-study and remarkable development. He loved reading, was curious about everything around him, and often did experiments in the basement. Growing up in poverty, Edison had to sell newspapers and candy on trains to support his family, and at the same time saved money to buy experimental equipment. In the train car, he turned a corner into a mobile laboratory, a place to nurture the first dreams of an inventor. Edison's career in invention was not a bed of roses. He failed not just a few times, but thousands of times. The most famous story is the creation of the electric light bulb. Before he succeeded, he had tried more than 6,000 different materials for the filament. When asked why he persisted after so many failures, Edison calmly replied, "I have not failed. I have just found 6,000 ways that do not work." That is the most vivid proof of his perseverance and unwavering belief in his goal. Success did not come to him only through the light bulb. Edison had more than 1,000 patents, including the phonograph, the movie projector, the microphone, and many inventions that laid the foundation for the modern industrial revolution. He was not only an inventor, but also an excellent businessman. Edison knew how to commercialize his inventions, founding General Electric, one of the largest corporations in the world to date. Behind the dazzling lights of glory were countless sleepless nights, hours of disappointment, and almost giving up. But Edison never gave up. He once said, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." And that's not just a motivational quote. It's how he lived and worked every day. Thomas Edison's story is not just a journey of wisdom, but also an epic of determination, faith, and perseverance. It reminds us that success is not reserved for the best, but for those who never stop. Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, is one of the smartest and most successful businessmen in American history. His story is not only a journey to build a giant retail empire, but also a testament to creativity, strategic vision, and different thinking. Sam Walton was born in 1918 in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, to a family with little financial means. However, from an early age, he learned valuable lessons from his newspaper and milk delivery jobs, where he understood the value of money and the importance of hard work. After graduating from the University of Missouri with a bachelor's degree in business administration, Walton began his retail career at a Ben Franklin store in Des Moines, Iowa. This is where he learned important retail skills, but it was also where he developed an urge to change the way retail works, especially in untapped areas. In 1945, Walton bought a Ben Franklin store in Newport, Arkansas, with money borrowed from family and friends. The store was small, but he used very different strategies to differentiate it from the competition. Sam Walton realized that, instead of focusing only on big cities, rural areas had a great need for low-cost retail stores, something that the big retail chains at the time had ignored. That was the opportunity that Walton seized. He began opening the first Walmart stores in small towns and rural areas where people had few shopping options but were willing to spend money on low-cost products. The combination of deep discounts and great cost savings helped Walton quickly build trust and love from customers. With a different strategic vision, Walton decided to not only expand the size of the store, but also make improvements in management. One of the key factors that helped Walmart succeed was Walton's use of technology to manage inventory and operate stores. He applied a computer system to track the inventory level of each product, thereby minimizing waste and increasing sales efficiency. In addition, Walton also focused on negotiating with suppliers, buying in large quantities and transporting goods effectively to reduce costs, thereby keeping product prices low. By doing so, Walmart not only attracted customers but also built a large network of stores. By 1985, Walmart became the largest retail chain in the US, surpassing Sears, one of the big names in the retail industry at that time. Sam Walton became one of the richest people in America, but he still maintained a simple and close-knit lifestyle. Despite his huge fortune, Walton never wore expensive watches or lived in luxurious mansions. He still drives the same pickup truck, maintains a close relationship with his employees, and always puts the customer at the center of every decision. Sam Walton's success story is not only about wealth but also a great lesson in market approach, smart management, and strategic vision. He proves that getting rich is not just about finding opportunities in saturated markets, but sometimes the biggest opportunities lie in places that few people pay attention to. Walton's story is also a testament to the fact that perseverance, creativity, and frugality can help build a great empire, even when starting from the simplest things. Jeff Bezos was born in 1964 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. After graduating from Princeton University with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and computer science, Bezos began his career on Wall Street, where he worked for several large investment and technology firms. Despite his success, Bezos was uncomfortable with office work, and he began looking for a different path, an opportunity that could change the way the world worked. In 1994, Bezos decided to quit his job and pursue a project that he believed would be the future of retail, an online bookstore. The idea came from Bezos' realization that, with the development of the internet, it would be possible to build a store without physical limits, with millions of books available to customers anywhere. This would save costs, creating a huge supply that traditional stores could not compete with. Amazon was launched from Bezos' garage in Seattle. Initially, the company only sold books, but Bezos had a bigger vision and always had a long-term goal. Amazon would not only sell books, but also expand into other products, becoming an online global supermarket. In fact, Amazon began expanding into other categories very quickly, from electronics, clothing to food. These moves were risky, but Bezos always knew that conquering each market niche would help Amazon become a leading e-commerce platform. One of the key factors that made Amazon successful was its customer strategy. Bezos always emphasized that Amazon would focus on bringing customers the best shopping experience possible, with fast, easy, and secure delivery. He was also the first to understand the importance of creating customer loyalty. Amazon Prime, a membership service that allows customers to shop quickly and get free shipping, has helped Amazon build a huge community of loyal customers. In addition, Bezos has focused on technology and invested in automation systems, helping Amazon reduce costs and increase operational efficiency. Amazon has applied smart algorithms to recommend products to customers, improve operational processes, and warehouse management, thereby optimizing the delivery of products quickly and accurately. Although Amazon faced many challenges in its early years, from convincing investors to competing with retail giants, Bezos never faltered. He always persisted in his vision that Amazon was not just an online retailer, but also a platform to innovate the way businesses and sales are done. Today, Amazon is not only the world's largest online retailer, but also a giant in other areas such as cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and entertainment services. Jeff Bezos' vision and strategy have created a smart business model that has allowed Amazon to continue to thrive and innovate. The lessons from Jeff Bezos' story are perseverance, the ability to see opportunities in major changes in society, and the importance of building a clear customer strategy. Bezos has not only built a company, but created a global e-commerce ecosystem. He has proven that with the right vision, perseverance, and the ability to invest in technology, anyone can change the way the business world works. From the inspiring stories of wealth creation of people like Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Edison, Sam Walton to Jeff Bezos, it can be seen that the American spirit of wealth creation is not only based on intelligence or luck, but is the crystallization of many valuable qualities: perseverance, creative thinking, entrepreneurial spirit, and most importantly, the ability to act boldly from seemingly small things. Andrew Carnegie, from a poor immigrant boy, rose to become the king of American steel thanks to the spirit of continuous learning, disciplined thrift, and smart investment strategy. John D. Rockefeller proved that to become the richest person in the world, one not only needs business talent, but also the ability to manage systems, optimize efficiency, and always be steadfast with long-term goals. Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers, started in the printing business and became rich thanks to work ethic, the ability to build a personal brand, and wise financial management. Thomas Edison, who failed more than 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb, proved that persistence is sometimes more important than talent. Sam Walton was not born into wealth, but by seeing an opportunity in the neglected rural market, he built the Walmart retail empire with a strategy of low prices and dedicated customer service. Jeff Bezos, who started out in a small garage, succeeded not only because of his vision, but also because of his spirit of thinking long-term, going long-term, always putting customers at the center and constantly innovating. What they all have in common is they are not afraid of difficulties, not afraid of failure, always proactively looking for opportunities and challenges and willing to try new things. They build wealth not only for themselves, but also create real value for society, creating jobs, developing technology, changing consumer habits, and even changing culture. Therefore, the greatest lesson learned from these stories is not simply how to get rich, but how to live with a big vision, with an unwavering will, and with the determination to pursue your dreams to the end. In today's world, where opportunities always exist for those who dare to think differently, dare to do differently, that spirit still holds true, not only for Americans, but for anyone who aspires to rise from zero to change their lives. You see, successful Americans are not simply rich, they are symbols of will, creativity, and relentless dedication. They start from zero, overcome failure, dare to think big, and never stop in the face of difficulties. The lesson here is not how much money they have, but how they think, how they act, and how they create sustainable value. And you can do it too. Start today, with what you have, because the path to wealth does not start with opportunity, but with you. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to TY Production channel so you don't miss the next inspirational stories.